Deputy Political Leader. We have at the far end our Secretary General, Mr. Hippolyto Bautista. And to my right, we have our Chairman, Mr. Paco Smith. And to my left, we have our Deputy Chairperson, Mrs. Jennifer R. Williams. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being here. Okay, to start off, we'll just give you a quick update on the BPP and what we've been doing. There's a lot of work that we've been doing, and probably the media and the general public might not know about it, but infrastructure-wise, we put a lot of work into our office, our headquarters. As you can see, it looks a lot better, especially outside, a lot of painting. We're working on offices upstairs. So there's a lot of work being done to build the organization, to build the party. So we just want to give you a quick update on that and let you know that we are here, we're working, although the word might not get out. We continue to work ahead. Let's just jump right into it. Today there are three things on the agenda mainly. Of course, the rule of law and the recent CCJ ruling, the municipal elections, and the impending referendum. To start off, we'll ask Mr. Paco Smith to give us a little overview at least on the rule of law and the recent CCJ rulings. Paco.
Thank you very much, Javier. Thank you everyone for coming. I will be as brief as I possibly can be because I want to turn it over to our political leader to get into the meat of the matter. But what I'd like to do is first begin by recognizing the period leading up to the Anti-Corruption Day, which is celebrated annually on the 9th of December. We understand the government believes is involved in week-long activities involving its commitment of signing on to the UNCAC, UNCAC. And this, of course, is noteworthy. Yet at the same time, it's both ironic and in certain respects hypocritical, as one of the fundamental tenets, as far as we are concerned here at the BPP, as it relates to combating corruption and laying the groundwork to minimize its effects, is steeped in the all too real notion of garnering and displaying a healthy respect for adherence to the rule of law. With that said, I wish to state categorically the BPP's position with regards to the CCJ ruling. We know that you all in the media have received our press release, and I just want to reiterate that our position is steeped in strict adherence to the rule of law. The highest court of appeal for this nation has spoken, and we are obligated as a nation to adhere to the ruling. I'm going to turn it over now to the political leader, but I want to preface what he's saying with a few words that I want you to keep in mind. And when we're talking about the rule of law, certain things need to come into effect. I want you to think about the salience of the word ethics, democracy, the public interest, and public service. Factor those things in when you listen to our presentation, and also with regards to the overall situation involving this pressing matter. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our political leader, Mr. Patrick Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greetings and greetings. I want to say a huge thank you to the media that is present. And we want to take this opportunity to let the release understand that the BPP do have our finger on the pulse of this nation. It's just that, as our MC said, that we're engaged in building. We're engaged in building, and the work of building sometimes go unnoticed. But although we're busy building this for the infrastructural rights and the membership, we still do find the need to comment on national issues as they arise. But today, because of a $90 million ruling handed down by the CCJ, we found ourselves again needing to speak out on behalf of Belize and Belizeans to try and shed some light on no matter what seemed to be very confusing out there. So I want to premise what I'm about to say by saying this. We either live under the rule of law or we're living lawlessly. Understand that there's no in between, no gray area. We're either living under the rule of law or we're living lawlessly. Now, in 2008, after the UPP government was formed, I personally made one statement where I told Belize, welcome to tyranny, the sixth and final stage of the process called corruption. Because corruption is not a single event. It does not occur with one signing of a document. Corruption has been proven to go through 6 stages, starting with one simple thing like pride, which we attributed to the 1981 victory of the BPP, proud of getting us our independence. They were a very proud bunch, right? And so, although they achieved independence with all their territory intact, because of their pride, they were voted out. The people wanted change. So they voted in the UDP to bring in one change and one reversal of this trend of corruption that started after independence. Because while we were a British self-governing territory, every copper collected, borrowed, or grants given to this government of Belize was accounted for. And likewise on the expenditure side, every copper invested or spent was recorded for in the consolidated revenue fund and comprehensive audit of that fund. Since 1981, Belize haven't had a single year where that fund in its entirety have been audited. And when you don't have proper accountability, you open up yourself from a lot of room for things like this where banks are allowed to rape our country, which is exactly what happened. These banks have raped Belize, and it's a persona non grata and should be declared such and exit this economy. But I want to preface, as I said, by saying we're a tyranny now, Belize, because pride have gone, arrogance have gone. The UPP government of 1989 to 93 was the most arrogant government, 84 to 89. Was the most arrogant government this country saw. I remember when they introduced jacket and tie and all of that instead of wire bearer was more suited to the same family. They were voted out. The PUP came in and they introduced greed. That's when her Hespat explained about the bloated contracts with the PUP to start engaging. That's when Ralph Fonseca took the PUP that was sort of left-wing capitalists all the way over to right-wing. And that's when we started calling them PUDP because they both became right-wing capitalist party engaged in mass corruption. We moved from voting them out because of that greed, and we put in Esquivel figuring the government of 93 to 97, figuring that they would ratchet it down back to at least arrogance or something to that effect. Instead, they took us from greed to the 4th stage, that is insensitivity. And that we used the retrenchment exercise when the Esquivel government in 1997 retrenched some 700 people, just one bomb out the civil service, the most insensitive act ever performed by a government. We voted them out, and there is where we had our best chance for political reform. There were a lot of people clamoring for political reform in that 97 political reform, heading into 98 with the re-registration exercise and the call for political reform. And we thought we had the best opportunity, young, brilliant university grads forming the bulk of those 26 elected PUP out of 29 members in that house. Did they bring us political reform? Well, except for the Honorable Godfrey Smith as Attorney General, who did introduce tenure to our judges, which is the point I'm going to be speaking to in particular. The judiciary cannot be independent if the judges do not have tenure. So when you appoint one judge for 2 years or 1 year, you're restricting his impartiality, because whenever a matter reaches that judge that is against the government of Belize, judges get paid off pretty penny, giving accommodation, counseling, and people and everything. And so before these guys let go of that, they are more inclined to go along with what cabinet, directive if you may. I know I'm treading on thin line here because we're talking about the independence of our judiciary, but I make no reservation in saying that I told Belize, welcome to tyranny, because the judiciary was removed tenure from the judiciary was what the Barrow did immediately after elected. He ruled the Honorable Judge Conte out of this country because he was truly independent and he was ruling based on constitutional laws and on treaties and convention the country signs onto, which is on par with your constitution needs. So when you sign international treaties and conventions, the learned judges know that they don't just look at your constitution, they need to look at the conventions you signed on to and make a ruling saying that you have to go fix the constitution because you're not in line with the treaties you signed on to. So I'm saying that when the Barrow won, and didn't take us from domination to insensitivity and arrogance and not to think down. That means he was continuing along the corruption process, right? And he brought us to tyranny when he removed the tenure from the judiciary. So what do we have today? We have today where the two lesser courts, if you may, because 6 courts have ruled on this 90 million matter. 6 different courts. So of course, taking it to the Supreme Court, whose independence have been impaired because the judges that who didn't have tenure, it brings into question their ruling. Are they just following the dictates of a tyrant who is running a banana republic called the Kingdom of Belize? So it's taken to the Court of Appeal. Again, the government of Belize won. But again, you just saw where Mr. Frank, Justice Frank, had to resign because another one had been borrowed from the Prime Minister that he was stuck in the Court of Appeal with. He resigned on principle because he understood he did not have the support, and more than that, he did not qualify to sit there on our Court of Appeal. So, what we have, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court ruling in favor of the government of Belize. What follows next? There's a ruling from the Privy Council that was our highest court before we signed on to the CCJ. And they said, you know what, you have to respect that agreement. That was followed by the London Court of International Arbitration, another superior court if you may. They ruled against the government. So we did 2-2, right? 2 ruling against, 2-4. So what happens then? It's challenging the US Supreme Court. Mr. Ashcroft, the guy, international player, he take it to the US Supreme Court now. And then the government of Belize lose again. So we get 3 last, 2 wins. Now, at this point, we're under the CCJ as the highest court, and the matter goes to the CCJ now. Now, the CCJ is in a predicament because they're a newly established court that is trying to seek, let's say, acceptance as the highest court for the region. So they can't be ruling any bias way or stuff. They want the respect of the US Supreme Court. They want the respect by the Privy Council in London. So they have to rule as objectively as they can. They cannot allow themselves to be manipulated by one prime minister who has run tyrannical, in the banana republic called the Kingdom of Belize. So they rule the way they know they had to rule because Belize, Mr. Ashcroft, has to be paid. There's no if or but. He has to be paid. Now what we should have been doing is to pay him and then go after his bank. Because if I were Mr. Barrow's shoe, I guarantee you, Belize Bank would have been nationalized from the first time they brought scrutiny on this country when the corresponding banking issue first arose, if you recall, Belize. 2 banks. First Caribbean and Belize Bank were the 2 banks that were culpable, that brought this country a whole lot of black eye, say the corresponding banking agreements. Right then and there was the opportune time, if Mr. Barrow was really at war with Mr. Ashcroft, to nationalize that bank. Because that bank is what made that man all his billions. That is what he has gotten from this country. That bank is not BTL, that bank, you see. So if you're at war with Mr. Ashcroft, pay the 90 million. Go after Dr. Vinny to find out Dr. Vinny. What is this thing that I heard you said you transferred your 51% to Thoroughbred Limited of Nevis and Ratalo Group of Nevis? You bought 51% and then you transfer ownership to 2 companies because I was trying to find who are the registered owners of the Cell Care Partners right now. So you find there's a trust that supposedly owns 49% on behalf of Belize. But who's administering that trust? Well, at the time of my research, I found 2 of my Clash of key players in a Melchizedek Flores with a brilliant accountant, brilliant CPA. But you see what Mr. Ashcroft do? You load up yourself with brilliant attorneys and brilliant accountants. Now when do you borrow have? Learned attorneys, I don't want to use the word brilliant because they lose in every case they go. But they are learned, right? Learned attorneys. But what about the accountants? They don't want to pay an accountant 10%, but lawyers collect 20-30%. But we needed to be paying one accountant to go figure out some issues that the lawyers are incapable of understanding. So how come Dr. Vinny paid 13.9 million supposedly for 51% of this company? And we are now being asked to pay 40 million plus another 50 million because it was 40 million in 2016. But with the interest at 17% in 1 year's time, another 50 million in interest up there. And when the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, said, we will not pay, well, the bank no one collect the principal, you know. The bank business that collect interest. So that is probably this bank best performing, you know, item on its portfolio. It fetch 17% annually compounding monthly. So every year we go without paying, we can expect another amount of, you know,
Addition.
so much more millions added on to it, millions added on to this thing until it is paid. So I'm saying, let's pay this thing. Let's try and negotiate something with him for a haircut on the interest. We'll pay the principal, but work out something with that interest man. And then have him help us identify those members in government and in the private sector that were culpable. In effect, two names come to my mind. Dr. Victor Lizaraga and Dr. Cobb, who were the architects of the Lease Health Partners in farm. They were guaranteed $300,000 a month for 5 years. I will say it again with these. When Universal Health Partners, Universal Health Services was formed, it was formed with a promise that the government will supply them with a service contract where they will receive $300,000 monthly, that's $3.6 million a year to pay off any bank note, and that's $18 million over 5 years that the service contracts were for. Now, where did these monies come from? And remember, you have to do that by two, because there was already established the Lease Medical Associates. So you have a 36 million drawn on the Social Security Board funds without any monies going in, because NHI is supposed to be on insurance. Insurance work where beneficiaries will pay in, and then there's something to draw from. Now, Side Moves are playing game one to take control of Southside, decide that he will roll out on NHI to Southside the lease only. But to do that, they had to get in the kitty too. So they had to get a couple doctors to start up a new private hospital that will be able to benefit, like the Lease Medical Associates will benefit from that $300,000 a month. So there was a rush to get one new private hospital started, and in that rush, they sent the good doctors to DFC to go get the loan. DFC now didn't have any money, and so the Lease Bank when called upon Italy and DFC to make good on this guarantee that was, unlimited. When it reached a certain threshold, the Lease Bank started calling, no, it's DFC guarantee, not hold more water. That is when the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, determined that he will give one personal guarantee to this group, to the Lease Bank. That personal guarantee was called in at the point it was 33 million. Now, my first comment when I saw that was, one day it was 33 million, the next day they're showing us 33 million US. So I said, we need some accounting to be done here. What is it, 33 million US, 33 million release? And up to today, we still have not gotten one clear indication, because it seemed like this man went after 33 million US, because Dr. Vinny, who supposedly took out a loan by the Prime Minister's word, 45 million, where 35 million was used. By Dr. Vinny's word, he had paid $13.9 million for 51% of Universal Health Services. He claimed he had 5.5 million with himself and 7 foreign investors, and he borrowed 8.4 million from the Lease Bank. Now, again, we don't have audited numbers, we don't have accountants contributing to this, so we don't know. We know Dr. Vinny lied, because he said that the money he used to pay, and later on when the government changed, now we hear that the Taiwan money and Venezuela money can make the payment with the central bank flag and cigar in a Lease Bank account and say, well, we're going on with this. But then, like last guy said, well, that the money we used to pay off healthcare partners. But Dr. Vinny told me that he had investors and he borrowed some of the money from the Lease Bank. So I'm saying there's a lot of room here for us to go after the Lease Bank in not honoring its fiduciary responsibility to be truthful to this country. Because how come we have collected so much money? And from my understanding, as I said, the persons administering the trust on behalf of whether the GOB should own on 49% is two of my class of key guys, Phil Osborne and Melchizedek Flores. So what is happening here now? Who's in bed with me? The Barron needs to go after not just Belize Healthcare Partners assets, but the Belize Bank and nationalize that bank. And that's the way you get rid of a virus. You need to immune this country from this man. He will continue to litigate us to number. We don't know how much more litigations are pending as we're speaking. You see? So for a person who do not believe that foreign direct investment is the only way to develop a southern economy, not like the term third world indeed. Southern economies like to think they need this foreign direct investment. We've seen Santander come borrow 300 million out of our banking system. We've seen the government of Belize just soak up all the excess liquidity in the bank in a public projects where not really bring any return on those monies being spent and properly invested. So I'm saying that no love for Mr. Ashcroft, certainly no believer in foreign direct investment, but a firm believer in that we're either living under the rule of law or we're living lawlessly. So this move on behalf of our Prime Minister, who is heading that cabinet, which understand the executive of Belize is still Her Majesty, but who's the biggest benefactor in all of this? One of Her Majesty's sirs, KCMG, Sir Michael Ashcroft, right? So he's the biggest beneficiary of this. And if you think this is not exactly the way the UK Foreign Secretariat Office wants these southern territories to be run, but they don't understand the game that is in the players. You see? So for a banker to just change Belize to US and ensure that he collected on that 33 million in US is what happened with my John Hamming saying, how did the Borough allow this to happen? Why did he not pay that man from the time it was 40 million? Go after Saeed Ralph, Dr. Lizaraga, Dr. Cobb, Dr. Vinny, one Pete Neal, who was Dr. Vinny's partner. All their names need to come up. And we need to be having the FIU getting into this matter, hiring a good CPA, and let's figure out what went on here. There's only so much of that can be interest. How the hell did, $120 million turn into fetching this man, whether it's 49 million or 13.9 from Dr. Vinny's group, plus now another 90 million, plus the Taiwanese 10 million. How much did Belize Bank collect on that property? So are we just gonna pay him off and let Dr. Vinny and Thoroughbred Limited and Ratalo Group, SA and Phil Osborne and Flores still running that hospital operation for Michael Ashcroft because the trust still in control of Michael Ashcroft, right? And again, you say that the same colonial game. DSI had an employee trust to retire, right? That the same principle being applied where the foreign direct investor talk on sweet talk and we have to create an employee trust and the employees are benefit, but the employee never get to administer that trust. And for some reason, the trust never finished pay for the shares where it should get. Because nobody give you nothing for free. If the workers are going to end up with ownership on a trust, they need to pay for that trust. So we keep seeing these corporate entities being formed to hide behind financial wrongdoings. And we're saying that it's time we start paying accountants 10%. Well, I make money so easy, you don't understand value. You see, they could wipe you on 90 million and the Baron Malta that he responsible for 50 million of that. So we don't worry that 40 million and we never get more value. They're attorneys, right? They take one farm and change William here to Patrick Rogers and change one dollar figure from 100,000 to $1 million and then fill in percentage fetch them. You understand? That's all liars, but they have no concept of money. So for them to talk about Belizeans who have to pay 90 million, it's not here or there with them. They don't understand value. So let's get some accountants in there. Let the FIU and some CPAs get to the bottom of this. Find out how we can retain ownership of Belize Healthcare Partners. Find out how we can get Belize Bank nationalized. And find out how we can get Mr. Ashcroft out of our economy. That is what I would like to see happening right now because the environmental politics again, it's PUP and UDP politics at its best, but it's Belizean politics at its worst. To be making, disrespecting our highest court be questionable about your nationality. Now, that is the act of a tyrant, that he uses the cabinet when he holds caucus to let that cabinet to dominate the legislative arm of government. So the cabinet have already disrespected the CCJ. And now he's trying to have the legislative arm of government disrespect our highest courts. And that we cannot stand for. The court have got nobody to fight for them. And that's why the BPP is here today saying that we are going to be standing up for the protection of the rule of law and for the respect of our Caribbean court of justice.